Hi, thanks for joining us. I want to continue in the intermediate realm of throwing. This is a new collection of mine, work that I'm doing, and I really like them. They are the same textured exterior wall using the Japanese clay comb that you had seen the vase in the demo. This has been fired in our wood kiln in the salt and soda chamber. This is all brown stoneware with no glaze at all, and the glossy airborne glaze is sodium from our salt and soda mixture in that kiln. We have a beautiful glaze on the interior that does partial reduction into pinks and violets and beautiful green with sodium crystals. It's an inward folded rim. So that's what I want to show you, is how to texture it, rib it out, and then fold the rim, and then you can see I alter the rim as well. I'm going to throw a smaller version for you, and that will be our next demo. I use a variety of clays to make these pieces, depending on which chamber or which kiln they go into. In the first chamber of our wood kiln, which is straightforward wood-fired reduction, I use a Helmar clay, which is just gorgeous, much lighter tones than this. But in the soda chamber, the Helmar clay tends to bleach out. There isn't enough iron in it. So I'm using the brown stoneware in this soda chamber of our wood kiln. And it has enough iron in it to still hold its color, but get beautiful variations of iron and sodium color on the texture. When particularly throwing these open forms, I highly recommend when you pull open, leave a thicker bottom and push down and out with your fingers when you're pulling open, leaving a sizable pyramid or large nipple on the bottom of the piece. What I'm then going to do is take a rib tool, and I'm going to compress that larger volume of clay and that little pyramid or nipple into the bottom. This will create much greater compression of a larger volume of clay into a smaller area, which is the bottom, tightening the clay platelets, which just simply helps prevent more S-cracks, particularly on wide bottomed forms. So as you can see, I'm really pushing down quite firmly. The clay does trim up, but it does compress the bottom more with this technique. So now I'm just going to pull this thick wall upward, slightly inward. Clean your hands. I always recommend that you get all the chunks of slop off your hand. Pulling up. This looks good. Compress the rim. Now, I'm going to take my Japanese clay comb. I tend to like to round my rim a little bit. So here we go. I'm going to take all the wet clay off of it. I'm going to spin the wheel slowly, and I'm going to go up and in. I want to texture even the rim, because this rim is going to be folded inward. So I'm just looking for anywhere I might have missed. And I'm going to do this and texture the rim. Then just like I did on the larger vase, I'm going to change direction. And I'm going to do a texture that's intersecting in the opposite direction. I'm pushing in much lighter because I don't want to eradicate the first texture. I just want to do a slight texture in the opposing direction on top. That feels good to me. Then I'll also texture the rim in the opposite direction. Okay, go back to counterclockwise because I'm right-handed. And now I'm going to take a sponge in my hand, supporting the right hand with the left, and I'm going to start to widen this and ribbing it outward. And as you see, the texture expands. Gets a little more dramatic. And I regularly bring my fingertips way up here. Now, if you're going to do this with your fingertips, one of the tricks is you have to cut your fingernails. Because if you have the slightest fingernail on your finger when you do this, you're going to cut an indentation in the wall, which is going to weaken the wall and it's going to collapse on you. So now I'm ribbing it out with my thumb. I'm going to rib it up and out. Notice the rim is starting to collapse inward. It's just what we want. I don't care that it's falling off center slightly, because what we're going to do now is we're gently going to roll this. Gradually. I'm not trying to get it all done in one action. I may go around the piece 2 or 3 times to fold this rim. I want it to be looking substantially thick, even though it's hollow. Go around one more time. There we go. Now I can spin the wheel and just tuck it in. There we go. That feels good. One thing I want to do is that this inner shoulder right here, I just want to rib it slightly. So I'm just going to get rid of that inner shoulder. There we go. Giving the wall a slightly more gradual taper. There we go. Looks good. And then wet my fingers, pinch it, and turn it in like that with my thumb. Go 180 degrees across from that. Do it again. Now I do 90 degrees from there. And you can be dramatic with this. You can make it sculptural. See how I'm really pushing in there. I'll go back to the original ones and push them in a little bit. I really like the sculptural aspect. It becomes a real piece of ceramic art, but it is completely functional. You can serve out of them. It's wonderful. Then what I do is I just glaze the interior. I leave the textured area, including the inner rim, raw, which becomes glossy from the sodium vapor in the soda chamber of our wood kiln. So this is our demo. Thanks so much for joining us.